Good morning. Or maybe good night. Whatever, I can't fucking tell anymore, anyways. I'm sorry to wake you up like this. You're probably wondering how you got here. I won't beat around the bush. Bad news, you are infected. It must have happened during the last testing cycle. The protocol should have been enough to prevent contagious exposure, but, well, maybe those were all bullshit too. It doesn't matter anymore. The good news is that we caught it early enough to do something about it. See that TV in front of you? There's a key on top. Go pick it up.
The folks over at Dread XP and their collaborative indie devs have been really hard at work this year, putting out not one, but two Dread X collections with a third on its way soon. The first Dread X collection compiled some great indie titles together under the shared theme of PT, or Playable Teaser, inspired by Kojima's Silent Hill PT. After playing the second Dread X collection, that theme can be applied to the entire first collection as a whole. The first collection being a proof of concept that a collection of short indie horror titles can be compiled into a worthy anthology game. The second Dread X collection does it even bigger than the first one, with 12 games instead of 10, an interwoven narrative, an interactive hub world, and the shared theme of Lovecraft inspiring these titles. This means tales of ancient monsters, madness, and alternate worlds. Many of the developers who contributed to the first one, and the Haunted PS1 demo disc, contributed to this one as well. This all adds up to what resulted in a better looking collection with more cohesion and much better presentation values. But how are the games themselves? Let's take a look.
Alrighty, welcome back. Hope you picked the right tape, or this whole thing is fucked. No, I'm just kidding. There's no correct order. Funny enough, I actually can't set the order for you. The virus would redevelop into active parts of your brain if you knew what to expect. It's tricky like that. Or maybe I did set the order and now I'm just tricking the virus into specific areas to more easily lobotomize. Anyways, let's continue. See that door? Go through there.
The best place to start with Dread X Collection 2 is, of course, the Hub House. Instead of just a static image of a mirror with different buttons launching the different games like in the first collection, this game has an interactive house that you can walk around in, find lore to read, and solve puzzles, which gives keys needed to unlock the next game. This part was developed by Lovely Hellplace, who made Shatter on the first Dread X collection and Dread Delusion on the Haunted PS1 demo disc. I really liked this hub world. It was more engaging than just the static menu of the first game, and helped tie everything together with the overarching story of the Cognitovirus test subject. The Cognitovirus was something that was briefly brought up in the first Dread X collection, but it was really the focal point of this one. Like I said earlier, it helped contribute to an overall greater sense of cohesion, and connected them all in a way that was better than just the meta cards that sorta related to one another in the original collection. The house itself is fun to explore. It has some genuinely creepy atmosphere and aesthetics. Creepy visuals like this statue, this body, this room, this guy watching. I thought the puzzles, while for the most part were pretty easy, were fun to complete, and I wanted to find more. I wanted to see how the different rooms connected and how manipulating some rooms affected others. I also really liked that the games needed to be unlocked by solving these puzzles, and the aesthetic of them being VHS tapes. I love that stuff. Each game also comes with a comic page as well, telling the story related to the Lovecraftian theme. Lovely Hellplace did a really good job on this interactive launcher. It really added a lot to the overall experience.
Knew it. I knew it.
So Squirrel Stapler is David Szymanski's. Hunt squirrels, staple them to a corpse,
Meet God. Alright, sounds good. Let's do that.
I finished the first collection with David Szymanski's Pony Factory, so I figured I'd start this collection with Squirrel Stapler. If you don't know, I'm a big fan of David Szymanski's work. He created one of my favorite retro shooters, Dusk, and I really liked Pony Factory as well. Squirrel Stapler is the story of a man and his ill-gotten love, a woman who exists merely as a fleshless torso. Every day you wake up and set out to hunt squirrels so you can staple them onto her body.
Trees look like they're growing. Shit.
Despite this disturbing visual starting off the game, Squirrel Stapler is actually David Szymanski's slowest burn of a game. In fact, it's kind of boring at times. This isn't to say it's bad, but it just feels a little drawn out at times. Squirrel Stapler is, at its core, a hunting game. You move slow, you need to track different types of squirrels, and need to be careful not to make too much noise or risk scaring the varmint away. The world is really open, a bit bigger than I think it should have been. The size leads to a lot of meandering around looking for these squirrels.
I'm gonna staple into my wife. You are sleeping. It's already a super weird game. Literally stapling fucking squirrels to my dead wife. Who made this game? Pretty big map. That health? This is a much bigger world than I was expecting. Squirrels are good hiders. I've been running around forever and I have not seen one.
There is ammo and health pickups to find, as well as little notes providing some lore. There are enemies to avoid and kill in the form of ghost squirrels and squirrel bears.
Squirrel bear? Squirrel bear?
The game is divided up into 5 days. At the end of each day, you staple some squirrels onto your girlfriend and go to bed. The body of your girlfriend actually will move around and be found in different areas throughout the map each day too, which is a bit weird.
Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. Nowhere to go, poor guy. Jesus! Startled me, woman. That was a good one. They actually got me on video there. Haha. Fuck. That was a silent jump scare, too. Usually it's the noise that gets me.
At the end of the final day, you get to meet God. Squirrel Stapler is pretty easy and honestly isn't particularly scary either. Yeah, the subject matter is morbid and disturbing, and meeting God at the end leaves you a bit on edge, but the core of the game is pretty relaxed for the most part. Still, despite some pacing issues and a world that felt a little too big, Squirrel Stapler was a fun inclusion and a good way to start off this collection.
Miss? Oh, prepare to meet God. I get back to the house in time. Oh, Lord. Pretty far. Oh, man, I'm cutting it close. What? Okay. Sucker for Love by Akabaka. Win the hearts of an Eldritch Horror and smooch her at any cost. It's the only one I know about. Well, it's the only other one other than Squirrel Stapler going into this that I have somewhat familiarity with. It's like a dating sim.
Sucker of Love is one of the more interesting games in this collection. It's a dating sim visual novel type of thing featuring a Lovecraftian squid girl named Lynette. Why is she so hot though? Much hotter than Siren Head in that dating sim. For real, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going, and I like where this is going. Move over, Risky and Shantae, we have a new contender for Waifu of the Year. Anyways, in Sucker for Love, you have to convince this squid god girl to fall in love with you with the primary objective of securing a smooch. To get her to fall in love with you, you need to read through a Necronomicon, which tells you what to do to appease her and win her affections. Man, I wish real women had an instruction manual. Anyways, you need to do some things like removing posters from the wall, holding various objects, dressing up in certain ways, and reciting ancient spells. You have to avoid losing your sanity and drifting off into the void, and pissing her off, just like dating real women. There are multiple endings that you can get that reflect your actions. I'm not the biggest on the visual novel genre, though to be fair I haven't played that many, but this game was pretty good and entertaining. It's kind of a bizarre premise, but that's what makes it good. I like the direction and graphic style a lot too. It's kind of anime looking, but with a twist. Sucker for Love is a really nice blend of humor, point-and-click style mechanics, and jump scares that just create something really unique and enjoyable. Will you succumb to insanity? Will you come to your senses? Or will you doom the world to secure your smooch? I think we all know the right answer.
Any existing lights, or you will attract their attention. Make sure this was symbol is nearby. Okay. Do not combine windows and doors. Nothing else. You will attract their. Next. Do not cover. She is coming. Make sure this symbol. If she gets in your room, it's too late. Make sure the symbol's not. Repeat this chant until you believe you are safe. I think I just died.
I can tell by the look on your face. You caught a glimpse of the real world now that I'm waking up. Guess you aren't as sane as you thought, huh, darling?
That's not.
Oh, sweetie. Don't worry about reality. It doesn't have anything to do with you anymore. If you like, I can move you to the front of the line and end you painlessly. As thanks for waking me up. You wouldn't hear their screams anymore.
That might be nice.
Or maybe you'd prefer to be saved for last. Have the whole doomed world all for yourself for a while. Though the things you'd see if you lingered. Being destroyed first or last. Which would you prefer, my darling? Done. The last ritual. You did wonderfully. I'm afraid it's time for the dream and our date to end. That look on your face. Darling, I had a wonderful date with you, and that's because of you. Don't think I forgot about my promise to you. Pucker up, my darling.
Oh, here it comes.
Earned it.
The best part. Smooch. Oh. Score. So that was Sucker for Love. Pretty funny and entertaining little visual novel game. Why Cthulhu looks so hot though, right? Funny thing about this game is that I can totally see some weeb in real life summoning, the Cthulhu waifu and ending all existence for that sweet squid girl waifu goodness. That's pretty entertaining. To the End of Days by Scythe Dev. That was Dev from the other game. The world is ending as the comet looms. Can you make it home to your family?
Scythe Dev Team, the team that released Carthink on the first DreadX collection, put out this game, To the End of Days. To the End of Days is a first-person shooter that takes place during the end of the world. The game actually brings up some interesting philosophical ideas. We're often so quick to think that the world needs to start over, that we can't wait for the comet to come down and end it all, but what if it actually does? I'm willing to bet most people won't be too happy in that real scenario. Anyways, To the End of Days, you get a gun which fires like a shotgun and can also be used like an axe. Though I never used it as an axe, I didn't really have a reason to. The game itself is really fun, featuring some really good combat. I like the game visually a lot too. It's low poly and you have a couple different filters to choose from. Of course, I went with the VHS one for my playthrough. The game has some good atmosphere too. It's really dark, making it hard to see sometimes, and enemies will often pop out at you suddenly. Made me jump a couple of times, mainly just because of how loud the game is. After a while, I noticed these metallic-looking plants that felt like I'd seen them before. And this is the coolest part of the game. Eventually, the screaming cyber skeleton assholes from Carthink show up, and the game reveals itself as a prequel to Carthink. Really cool.
Oh. Those were the things from Carthink. And that I was just gonna say, this looks like the plant life from Carthink. So this must be related to that game somehow. With those screaming guys from that game that were annoying. But how I said that I wish I could fight back against those guys, well, now I got a fucking gun and I can fight back against those guys. So I'm happy. They're still annoying and loud. But I can shoot their asses now.
I actually looked into it a bit, and it looks like all of the Scythe dev team's work are related in this world in some way. I honestly love that, and I want to play more of them to experience more of this world and the story that they are developing. Carthink may have frustrated me, but I still really liked it, and To the End of Days is better in every way. I like that they added combat mechanics to it. I like the music. I like the atmosphere. I like the connection back to Carthink. I like the visuals. I like the end of the world setting and its attempts at philosophical ideas pertaining to it. I like the last battle on this rooftop a lot. Honestly, this game was one of my favorites of the entire collection, and like I said, I'm going to seek more from Scythe Dev Team to experience more from this world.
Okay. I liked that. One, I liked that it's connected back to Carthank from the first Red X collection. Two, I liked the shooting, and I liked that they kind of turned it into a first-person shooter. The actual shooting mechanics felt very good. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I liked the main character. His, like, witty, sarcastic comments and badassery reminds me of, like, a, you know, Duke Nukem, Caleb type character. So I liked that. The end of the world setting is very cool for a first-person shooter as well. You don't see a lot of, like, apocalypse doomsday settings for these kind of games, so really cool. Liked this one quite a bit. That was just a lot of fun to play. Press page up during gameplay for a special shotgun surprise. Alright, I'm gonna have to try that. Page up. Page up during gameplay for a surprise. Beautiful. I love it. Touched by an outer god. The growth have invaded our world. Kill them, eat their flesh, become stronger. By Withers Studios.
The next game I played was Touched by an Outer God. I actually kind of mixed on this one. On one hand, I really like the visuals and art style. The hand-drawn looking graphics really look unique, and I really like the overall aesthetic of the game. The story and settings are pretty unique too. It sees you looking for your dad, a badass action hero-esque character, as you're fighting against these Lovecraftian monsters that have seemingly taken over the world. And I liked the gameplay quite a bit. It's a first-person shooter with some roguelike elements and a light RPG upgrade system. The game difficulty needed some balancing though. I started playing the game on the hardest difficulty and I was getting my shit kicked in. It's so hard at times, and since it's a roguelike, you'll find yourself replaying parts over and over and over. So I dropped the difficulty down to finish the game for this video, and that difficulty was way too easy. I breezed past it, and I was never even close to dying. I wish the difficulty was challenging but fair. The abilities you get from leveling up are all pretty cool. You have two different types of attacks, a projectile and a melee attack. They start off slow and weak, but can be upgraded to attack faster, stronger, set things on fire, leech health, and give you other different abilities. You can also upgrade your health and armor. My biggest complaint with the combat is that the movement speed is very slow. Even with the upgrade, it makes dodging attacks really hard. Overall, I thought the game was fun. I liked the gameplay and art direction and somber story, but I wish the difficulty was a little more fair.
Harness the cosmic power that has found its way into your body. You will ascend beyond flesh and blood. Your body corpse. Interesting game. I don't really know how I feel about that one. On one hand, I really like the graphics. The art style was really cool. It's almost hand-drawn, like a hand-drawn 2D effect to the sprites, which I really liked. And once the game kind of got going with the upgrades and everything, it was fun and I liked it. But the combat was still a little wonky, and there's definitely some balancing issues with the difficulties. If you noticed, well, not even noticed, but I didn't die a single time while playing on that normal difficulty. It was way too easy, but at the same time, on the harder difficulty, it was really hard. I couldn't get past that first level after the first boss. So it was either too easy or too hard. It needed a difficulty that was, challenging but fair, and that's what I think was lacking a little bit with the difficulties for this game. Solipsis, I think. So yeah, next. Solipsis. 2 astronauts search for geological features beneath the surface of the moon. They find one. God, that's so loud. Like, the actual hub world is so quiet, and then the games are so loud.
Solipsis is a unique-looking game. It's a top-down, black-and-white walking sim where you play as an astronaut exploring the moon, and things go badly. There's not too much to say about it. I like the art aesthetic. The black-and-white vibe is ominous. And I like the weird sanity puzzle things where you need to line up these symbols, but it lacks any real gameplay, and there isn't much to say beyond that. I'll let some of my in-the-moment thoughts do the talking for me on this one.
Negative 650. The gravimeter, it must be broken. Hold on, I need to adjust my orbit.
Oh, whoa. That's not good. Am I stuck on the moon? All alone now? Well, Soviets beat us to it. That is a giant ass hand. That's a person. Let me speed it up a little bit here. Walks so slow. Oh. That just exploded. Oh. Oh. Whole body exploded. Okay then. I don't really know how I feel about that one. It was essentially a top-down walking sim, so there wasn't a whole lot of gameplay at all to talk about. You just walked from place to place. The environment on the moon was pretty cool, though, and there was definitely a lot of atmosphere, a lot of like just dark, broody atmosphere. I like that it was almost silent. You couldn't hear a whole lot outside of some pitter-patter of the footsteps. There wasn't really like talking once your co-astronaut blew up. So that was cool, but there just wasn't a whole lot of game to it. Definitely an interesting set piece and definitely an interesting situational game. But yeah, that was just kind of it. The Thing in the Lake. The Thing in the Lake by Panstaz. Something horrible is hiding in the murky depths. Okay. So this looks like it's a little, almost like another Game & Watchy kind of game, maybe? Or a Game Boy game. That's what it looks like. This looks like a Game Boy game.
The Thing in the Lake is a 2D adventure game made to look like a Game Boy game, and I had high hopes for this because I really liked the look and sound design of the game. There's something about the Game Boy graphics that I just love, and I still think Game Boy sound effects are the very best the 8-bit systems had to offer. I don't know why, I just love it. This game nails it in the look and sound effects department.
What the heck? Oh, it took seconds for the giant to catch up with Kasha, and even less time to rip her head out and throw it away. The very last thing her eyes registered was a man standing behind the ape in the distance. Ritual has begun.
The game is an old-school style adventure game. You have to find some objects which open up paths to new areas while trying to perform a ritual and uncover the secrets of the camp. The game is split up into 4 levels. Each level sees you taking control of a different character. It's kind of cool that you can see other characters performing tasks as you play, implying that all these levels are actually occurring simultaneously from different characters' perspectives. In addition to solving puzzles, you also need to avoid being killed by a monkey and a murderer. This adds a lot of difficulty to the game and adds a lot of tension as you're trying to complete your tasks, because you never really know when that monkey is going to come and ruin your day. Dying means you need to start the level all over again. I found the Thing by the Lake to be pretty frustrating with the monkey mechanic, but I still really enjoyed the overall aesthetic of the game and found the story interesting.
Are you kidding? It spawned right on top of me. That was garbage. I don't feel safe in here. Oh god. Stupid fucking ape. It spawned right where I was standing. This is unfair. You can't react to that. And then you gotta play the same thing over and over and over. This is bullshit. This game is bullshit. Come on. Fuck, man. That monkey spawned directly on me. Alright, so that last one I did not enjoy. It was frustrating, it was tedious, it was monotonous. I liked the aesthetic of it, I liked the music, I liked the graphic style, I liked the throwback kind of Game Boy vibe, but also kind of Atari vibe of it. That was all cool, but the gameplay was so frustrating and so irritating of having to do things over and over and over and over because it was so easy to die that it was just not fun. It was so fucking frustrating, and it blew me, and yeah, so moving on. Alright, so now we're on to another late night. You're up late playing video games and messing around on the internet, and things take a dark turn. By Secret Kyle Level. This is the same team that did Don't Go Out on the first Dread X collection.
Another Late Night is super meta. It's a visual novel-esque game that sees you playing as somebody up late, playing games and chatting with friends, when weird things start to happen. It's an interactive storybook game revealing just how sinister the Dread X collection really is.
Loud. Oh god, I hate it. Press enter to The game is a psychological thriller exploring dark themes, rumors that are according to a occult-like group, Chan boards, defunct 4chan and 8chan, and offensive media, white supremacists, other hate groups. Your internet gusts are orderly. Hey, are you okay? I mean, if it's okay, if you're not, it's the world was screwed up. If you want to talk about it, I'm here to listen. It's like my job, right? I really don't care. What's bothering me? Pandemic right now. It's not a big deal, right? It's like the flu. Young people can't get sick. But it's weird, all people in masks and stuff, not knowing what's going on or how long it'll happen. Be okay. Sucks for some people, and really, it's a big deal, but not a lot you can do about it. School debt. What if you end up without a job? What if the whole economy blows up? Rich people will be fine. Good news. Fewer people died of heart attacks during the Great Depression because heart attacks are a lifestyle disease. When you can't get enough food, like meat and stuff, you can't get heart attacks and diabetes. So maybe living in a dumpster... Huh. Watch your back. If you want to die anyway, don't eat early while things taste pretty good or suffer. Got it. Why did the cat get bigger? Tried hypnosis. We tried... We hypnotized the government. I was in a trance. People on the scene here just didn't care. It was better than anything. Never heard voices. No, wait, hang on. Something. Does this game hypnotize you? Bottom of the iris ray doesn't have an eyelid. The bottom of your iris, all the way down to the bottom of your eyelid, got a little white crescent, white. Instead, felt something like that. Repression works right up until it doesn't. Then you might do something you don't intend to do. You might break, you might snap. It's time. Call the cops. Promise. 2 days. Dude, I just heard what done. Okay? Final 3 questions. Have you ever wet the bed? Ever hurt or felt the desire for other creatures, especially like not animals, but people? Have you ever strong into lighting things on fire? Maybe fireworks? Strong desire is a little excessive, but yeah, sure, we'll say this. Thank you. According to... Otherwise, listen. Window to exit. Game developer Justin Reiner has been found. Police say that they're still investigating that Reiner was another abducted by people who, another late night, followed them to connect with others. The world was. Police refused to speculate why Reiner was abducted, but anonymous sources say the group suspected him of withholding information. Reiner was hospitalized overnight for dehydration. One alleged abductor is in custody. Several others are still sought. Thank you for playing. Aww. They're so cute. Aww. Look at these rats. Oop. Howdy.
So that game was interesting. It was kind of like like an interactive, web page thing, kind of meta relating to playing this game. Again, not a lot of gameplay, so it's a little hard to talk about it from that
perspective. But I dug how creative that was and how different. I've never really played something like that. Really, I mean, it's hard to call it a game, but that was interesting. All right, the diving bell. Isolation takes its toll on even the strongest of will. Survive the crushing depths of the ocean and reach your salvation.
The Diving Bell is a game depicting the horrors of isolation as you play as the sole surviving member of a diving team. Things start off fairly rudimentary as you write your captain's log and tend to various issues with the ship.
You're not actually typing these words, but you gotta type on the keyboard to make the words appear. Instead of them just kind of popping up or whatever. Obviously a little more immersive.
Eventually, things take a turn for the worse as you start to hallucinate your dead crewmates returning for their revenge and lose your sanity. This game really reminded me of some frictional games, to be honest. Of course, Soma comes to mind first, as it's also a horror game that takes place underwater, depicting the horrors of isolation, but I also got some Penumbra vibes from it with the atmosphere and puzzle solving. I'm a huge fan of the Penumbra and Amnesia games, and honestly playing this made me want to go revisit those games. And with a new Amnesia coming out very soon, I may just take the time to replay them. Anyways, the Diving Bell is a pretty enjoyable game with some good atmosphere and story that really shows how maddening being alone can be.
This map is awful. I can't tell where I'm at, where I'm going. Oh, life support's over here. Mechanical Bay. Mechanical Bay isn't even fucking on here.
Boy, oh boy. You've really been having a rough go of it, eh? Stuck down here with just the four of us for days upon days. Not a word from the surface, not a ray of sunshine. Just the depths and the dark and the dank. And if that weren't bad enough, then you go and decide to blow us all out into open water, the pressure of 200 atmospheres bearing down on us. Our deaths were instant, but you bet your sorry ass they weren't painless. Now I know and you know that this isn't new to you. You already knew all this. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. That guilt that you've been pretending like you don't have, the paralytic, mind-numbing horror of what you've done, all those logs you spent all that time writing, well, that's all been according to plan. Our new friend's got all the details it needs on you. Now all you two have to do is meet. I'm sure you'll get along swimmingly.
Why is it so hard to find my way around this place? What a dark and depressing ending that was. Game itself was okay. Like I said, it kind of reminded me of Soma or Amnesia with the anxiety mechanic, but other than that, there wasn't a lot of it wasn't like a monster chasing you or anything like it would have been in those games. Puzzles were pretty easy to solve, but the layout was very hard to figure out where I was going. The map was terrible, and everything kind of looked the same. I got lost a lot. That said, still pretty decent. So this is Arcadletra? Arcadletra. Electronics in an arcade and video rental store begin to come to life in startling ways when unknown world is discovered. Arcadletra. Already blood coming down the walls. It just started.
Arcadletra was probably the scariest game in this whole collection. It takes place in an abandoned arcade and video rental store. As you investigate, the machines in the arcade whir to life and a mysterious hole appears in the ground. Feeding it cables, you are transported to and from another world where monsters attack and this woman resides. Like many of the games, there aren't really mechanics to review. You walk from one point to the next, maybe moving a wire or opening a door, but as a whole, this is largely an interactive horror story. It's got some spooky atmosphere and creepy monsters that appear frequently. I wish there were parts where we interacted more with these arcade cabs. I wish there was some gamey elements like puzzles to complete, or that the monster chases you or something like that. It's getting a little hard to review games with no mechanics. There's only so many times I can say, yeah, I liked the aesthetic, the story was unique, the visuals were cool, it was pretty scary, without any gameplay to discuss. But still, I liked Arcadletra. It was one of the scarier games in the collection.
I'm in the Cthulhu world. The video ghosties.
Came for me. I always hoped that you would. Although, I'm sorry. Because I know you will never be able to return. But you and I get to be here together. I no longer have to be alone. I will cherish this moment in my world. There's nothing stays in yours. Isn't this trade beautiful? Come closer. You are a graceful insect. I will not be left alone again.
That doesn't sound good. Peekaboo collection. What? That's on my list for tomorrow. Is that it? That might be it. So yeah, there we go. That was Arcadletra. It was interesting. So far, I think it was the most scary game on this collection so far. Definitely had some good atmosphere and some jump scares. I liked the aesthetic of this one a lot with the arcade VHS thing. Interesting story, kind of really bizarre and weird. Fit the theme of the overall anthology, the Lovecraftian elements pretty good. And I think this might, I have to check the devs, but I think this might be the guy who made the Peekaboo collection, which coincidentally I had already been planning to do for this anthology series, and that video should hopefully be up tomorrow. So yeah, kind of cool. On to the next one, The Toy Shop by Mahalik. It's another guy from the first Dread X collection. What do you do when you can't trust what you see, hear, or touch? Do you take your fate in your own hands or play on as someone else's toy?
Malik also returns to the Dread X collection world. He made Outsiders in the first game, and in this one he brings The Toy Shop. I rather like the toy shop. It's weird and a surreal experience. The world is very mysterious, bringing many different thoughts of drug abuse, weird science experiments, virus outbreak, and mental insanity. Not a whole lot makes sense in this game. The story is cryptic, your purpose is unknown, there seems to be some sort of battle going on between what are referred to as toy soldiers and these monsters called the Rejected. The toy soldiers are depicted as these downtrodden, hopeless people stuck at the end of the world. The Rejected are depicted as these mask-wearing zombies. Like I said, not much makes sense in this game. Things start off kind of standard, but then quickly evolve into weird and surreal. You'll see shifting art styles as you progress, and this big guy that starts staring at you. The genre will shift from first-person adventure to a side-scroller to a first-person shooter. Anytime I thought I had an idea of what was going on, I didn't. Eventually, you'll run into killer robots, hostile office spaces, and other signs of the apocalypse. Nothing is really answered at the end, and I was left with more questions than answers with the shocking twist ending. Overall, I liked the toy shop. Malik has a knack for creating interesting worlds with twist endings, and is also very good at creating some very creepy atmosphere. I jumped quite a few times getting ambushed by the Rejected, and being chased by unkillable robots from behind while being attacked by Rejected from the front is so intense and stressful.
Startled me.
I like the genre and aesthetic shifts a lot too. This was definitely one of the games I liked best in this collection, and I found it a lot of fun to play through.
Interesting. So that was the toy shop. Very different than what I was expecting, to be completely honest. Very unique. It was intense at times, a little stressful. Couldn't really see a whole lot with the shooting and everything. I liked how different all the different art styles blending in as you would move from location to location. The mixture of different genres, from walking sim to platformer to first-person shooter, was really cool. Really unique game. I enjoyed that one. It was pretty cool. Also one of the scarier games on this collection as well. So yeah, pretty cool. Undiscovered. Cursed tomb of kings lies hidden deep in the ancient jungle. Explore the tomb, learn its secrets, and find what lies undiscovered. By Torpal Duke. Same dude who did Hand of Doom.
Unlike Hand of Doom, though, Undiscovered is a third-person adventure game. Undiscovered sees two archaeologists, a husband and wife team, as they discover and explore some ancient ruins in the jungle. The ruins are haunted by the remains of Spanish explorers and possessed by even more sinister Lovecraftian horrors. You are armed only with a torch and a pickaxe, which you use to light other torches, open doors, and make bridges. You can also select which character you play as, but it doesn't really seem to affect the story at all, other than switching the names around. The game is presented in third-person, low-poly, black and white graphics. It's actually pretty hard to control. The controls aren't the best. They're like tank controls, but more restrictive. I fell a couple of times trying to make it over this bridge. The awkward controls are partially due to the fact that you can't control the camera, and this is one of the coolest things about Undiscovered. I said it's presented in third person, but the majority of the game is actually played in a sort of second-person perspective. The game is actually shown through the camera that your spouse is holding, so it gives the effect that you don't actually have direct control of the action. It's really cool, and you don't see too many second-person games out there, probably because it's hard to pull off. The eyeball monsters in this game just ooze that Lovecraftian aesthetic too. They really stick out against the drab cave, even in black and white. Honestly, Undiscovered kind of felt like what Uncharted would have been if it focused solely on the supernatural elements and didn't focus at all on the shooting or spectacle.
Weird that, like, I can go through my controls here, but this is frozen. Oh, wait. This is stuck on my screen. Oh. Look, this would be a lot spookier if I could get this freaking... Oh, is that an eye? Is that an eyeball? I'm controlling her. Again, this doesn't help because I can't see anything. Am I dead? Oh, come on! Get rid of this thing. Oh no. No, 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 no. It's so dark in here. The air is so heavy, so warm, so beautiful. Praise the new God. Well, not sure how I feel about that one. With that bug at the end there, I feel like I missed all the cool stuff. Kind of dumb. But interesting atmosphere. It was almost like Uncharted without the combat, and with a more horror focus, I guess, as we're finding, the temple and whatnot. I liked the black and white, low poly aesthetic, and from what I could tell, the spooky stuff looked cool. I wonder if there's any difference between picking these characters. So don't pick up this next, because glitched my game out. That. So much more impactful. Well, this must be the new guy we've heard so much about. What do we do now? It looks like we're trapped in here. Can't stand it against this kid. We've got to do something about it. Like what? All you have is a torch. So we burn it. Even with the first person, you still are kind of going in with tank controls a little bit. Charlotte has gone missing. The last hope of her embrace lies with an old note written in an ancient language.
And here we are, our last game, Charlotte's Exile. Charlotte's Exile is a game that I didn't really like at first. In some ways, it reminded me of those cheap discount mystery puzzle games you'd see at like Office Depot. You know what I'm talking about, those fucking Big Fish games. But as I played it more, I really began to like it. Charlotte's Exile is one of the more unique games in this collection. It's an old-school first-person puzzle game. Instead of moving around to solve puzzles, though, everything you need is right here on the table. You need to look through and manipulate various items on the table to find a code which will bring your wife back from this Lovecraftian horror world. This game really made me think. The solutions were not obvious, and I really had to use my brain to figure these out. The main puzzle is a cipher puzzle. You need to translate a message from these weird symbols into English. The solutions are found in the Necronomicon on the table. You need to do all of this while also monitoring the whereabouts of this monster stalking you. If you let him get too close, he'll steal this box, making it harder to find a solution. But if you look at him, he will run away, giving you more time to decode the messages.
Infested? Could this have been written by Charlotte? Goodness. I think he took something.
What was that?
This little shit made me jump every time. Like I knew he was there and I would still jump. I don't know why, but he got me every time. Decoding this message was so satisfying. Maybe I just don't use my brain enough in my everyday life, but I really liked being challenged in this way. You have to look for clues in the book, like comparing underlined letters to symbols, or reading through translations presented in the book, and then you need to solve a sort of word blank problem. And some of the letters I figured out just by using context clues of the letters around it to make a word. And there are multiple endings you can get determined by how you solve the puzzles. I really liked this one. It may not have been as scary as some of the other games in the collection, though it sure made me jump enough times. But solving this puzzle was just so fun and satisfying, and the book containing all these stories of Lovecraftian monsters was just so interesting that I really liked this one. Charlotte's Exile was definitely a good way to close out the second Dread X collection.
Ooh. So that game, pretty interesting. I liked the puzzle aspect of it. It was pretty challenging. Took me a while. Had to use my brain, which, you know, don't often do. But yeah, I liked it. Once I kind of got it, once it clicked, it was kind of frustrating at first, and I was getting a little flustered. But once it clicked, it clicked. So yeah, pretty cool. Different. You know, didn't see a whole lot of puzzle games, or you know, especially ones that required you to like figure out something so cryptic. So yeah, I dug it.
So, what do I think of this collection as a whole? Well, comparing it to the original Dread X collection, I think this one had much better presentation and a more cohesive overarching theme. You could see the Lovecraftian influence in every game, whereas the Peak T theme of the first collection was more abstract. And I absolutely loved the interactive launcher hub world thing of this collection. That said, I think I liked the individual games overall a little bit better in the first Dread X collection. That isn't to say any of these games were bad. They weren't, and I liked pretty much all of them a lot. But the first one just had games that stuck out to me a little bit more, like Summer Night. But despite all that, Dread X Collection 2 is still a solid, enjoyable, and really fun collection of great games by some of the best indie devs out there, and I highly recommend checking this one out for yourself.
Yeah. Paintings. Hey, it's the Dread X collection from, you know, the first game.